Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2010 Chevrolet Cobalt, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster fuse bypass switch. So the purpose of the fuse bypass switch is really simple. Whenever we go to flat tow our Cobalt, it's going to require us to remove a fuse every time we do that. And then you got to remember to put it back in whenever you're done flat towing. Well, the switch eliminates the need to do that. As opposed to having to pull that fuse out and put it in every time, we're simply just going to have to push a button. It's labeled really nice, so we know in this position, it's going to allow us to drive like normal. And then whenever we go to tow it, we simply push it down, and that's all we have to do. So the way that we know it's working is whenever the switch is in the drive or normal mode, we're able to take our ignition key and rotate our ignition all the way forward and be able to remove the key. Whenever we flip that switch into the towed position, we'll be able to put our key in and turn it forward, but we won't be able to turn it all the way back to get the key removed. And so that's what the switch is doing and allowing us to flat tow. So overall, although the switch is not a must-have, it does make it really convenient. You don't have to waste time and energy and thinking about taking the fuse out and putting it back in. It's just going to be a lot more easy and allow you to enjoy your vacation that much more. As far as the installation goes, it's really straightforward, easy to get to, and shouldn't take you a whole lot of time. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and do that together now. To begin our installation, we're going to be working here on the passenger front side of our vehicle, and we're going to need to locate and get access to the fuse block. The fuse block is behind this panel right here. So to get this out of the way, it simply just pops off, kind of pull the bottom out, slide it down, and set it off to the side. So the fuse that we need to remove is fuse number 8. It is a 2 amp fuse, and it is for the ignition and pass lock. So it's this one right here. It's gray in color. So what I'll do is grab a pair of needle nose pliers and get it pulled out. Now what we can do is grab our FuseMaster and the terminals here on the end that are connected to the switch, we're going to disconnect them. Now one of the terminals will have some white paint on it, and it's important to remember the orientation of the wires before we pull the switch off. So just to play it safe, I'm just going to take a pen, put a little white dot there as well. That way I'll 100% remember that this wire goes to this side of the switch. That being said, you can grab the terminals and carefully remove them. They are going to be a little tight, so if you kind of wiggle them from side to side and pull back at the same time, we should be able to get them both off. Now what we can do is grab our panel and create a hole. That way we can mount up our switch. So I kind of eyeballed the panel and found that right here there's a nice open area where we shouldn't have any interference. So I'm just going to use a step style drill bit and enlarge a hole until I think it's big enough to fit our switch in. We'll test fit it and make it just big enough that our switch passes through. Whenever you grab your switch, make sure that you take the lock nut off of it. Looks like we'll go a little bit bigger, so I'll enlarge that until it passes through. Then on the back side, when the switch does come through, we can take our lock nut and tighten it down on it. I'm going to hold the switch in place, and we'll just snug that lock nut down. So now we can take our FuseMaster and reconnect the ends to the switch. Don't forget to make sure you're connecting the right wire to the right side of the switch, and those just push right on. Now we can take these two ends and plug them into our fuse block. I'm going to make it a little easier to do and see. What I'm going to do is actually just pull this relay out for now. Give us a lot more room to work. And these are just going to simply get pushed in place of the fuse that we removed earlier. Line them up. And push them completely down to make sure that they're all the way connected. With that plugged in, don't forget to reinstall the relay if you took it out. Just pushes into place. And then we can grab the original 2-amp fuse that we removed and plug it into the fuse holder right here. Make sure it's fully seated, then close the dust cap. So now we can carefully kind of maneuver the wire and reinstall the panel. So now we can test everything to make sure it works. So the switch is in the up position, so the white dot at the top is pushed down. So this should be the drive position, and what we're looking for is we want to be able to rotate the key all the way forward, rotate it back, and be able to pull it out. So we did verify that in that position it is drive. Now if we push the switch down, what should happen is we should be able to put our key in and turn it forward, but we shouldn't be able to turn it all the way back to get it removed. So right there it locks in, so we know with the switch in that position, it is in the towed position. So just to double check, we'll flip that switch up again into the drive position, and we are able to pull our key out. Now that we figured out the position of the switch for our drive and tow mode, I went ahead and used the included stickers to label it. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster Fuse Bypass Switch on our 2010 Chevrolet Cobalt.